A frozen basement, a silent auction, plastic jugs far too heavy to be just water. What David discovered that Saturday morning wasn't just a chance to save his home. It was a calculated plan to hide a perfect crime and make the wrong owner pay the price. A plan that would have worked if he hadn't opened the first jug and heard that impossible metallic clink. This is the story of how a legal purchase turned into a sentence for 3 lives. Mr. Harper? David's hand tightened on the phone. He'd never given his name anywhere. You bought Unit 14 this morning. I need to discuss a business opportunity with you. The voice was calm, pleasant, the kind that sold insurance or coached Little League. David sat in his car outside the coin shop, engine off, skin prickling. I don't know what you're talking about. The jugs, the quarters. I'm prepared to offer you $5,000 cash. No questions. $5,000 wouldn't fix the furnace, and anyone offering cash for no questions was the question. The unit's mine. Legal purchase. Legal, yes. But possession and ownership are complicated, Mr. Harper, especially when children are involved. The voice softened, almost friendly. Emma's in 5th grade now, right? Ryan just started first? The line went dead. David stared at the phone. His daughter's name. His son's grade. Information he'd never shared, not with the auction company, not with anyone connected to the unit. Someone had looked him up, followed him, researched his family. If he knew their names, did he know their school? He started the car with shaking hands and drove straight to the police station. 72 hours earlier, the furnace coughed twice before dying. David Harper stood in the basement, flashlight cutting darkness, watching his breath fog. Upstairs, his mother's oxygen concentrator hummed, the house's heartbeat. The repair estimate sat folded in his pocket, $2,800. Emma appeared at the stairs. 10 years old, already reading his silences. Dad? Ryan's room is freezing. I know, honey. Extra blanket. I'm working on it. He wasn't working on it. He was staring at dead machinery and calculating impossible math. Credit cards maxed. The community fundraiser had covered 2 months, but charity has limits and pride has weight. The auction flyer glowed on his phone. Valley View Storage. Units 4 to 28. Saturday 9 a.m. Unit 14 caught his eye. Premium, $95 month, delinquent 4 months. The photo showed industrial shelving, moving blankets arranged with unusual care. Not the chaos of abandonment. Something else. That night, after microwave dinner and homework under every lamp they owned, David studied the listing. The blankets draped too deliberately. The shelving positioned like someone planned to return. It looked less like abandonment and more like interruption. The auction started at 9. He had $400 and nothing to lose but warmth. The storage facility squatted off Highway 101, chain link and cameras that might or might not work. David arrived early, coffee in hand, watching other bidders. Contractors with trucks, resellers with dollies, and one dark sedan idling near the back fence, engine running, windows tinted. The auctioneer was efficient and impatient. Unit 14, premium 10 by 20, delinquent since June, clean-out deadline 72 hours. The door squealed up. Morning light fell across industrial shelving against the back wall. Moving blankets hung like curtains from the middle shelf. Boxes labeled kitchen and garage stacked with precision. Everything smelled like concrete and something metallic, like coins left in a pocket through the wash. Starting bid, $100. A contractor raised his hand, then another. At $200, the crowd thinned. At $250, only David and the dark sedan remained. The sedan never moved, never bid. Just watched through tinted glass. Why watch if you're not bidding? $250 going once, $300, David said. The sedan's engine revved. The silhouette inside leaned forward, visible only a shadow against glare. then reversed and drove away without bidding. David signed paperwork with steady hands, received the new padlock, and watched the other bidders leave. Alone now with his purchase and the weight of not knowing what he'd bought. He approached slowly. The blankets hung perfectly, even folds identical. He pulled one aside, water jugs. 5-gallon containers, 12 across, 7 deep, arranged like soldiers. He lifted one. It didn't slosh. It clinked. David set the jug down and pulled out his phone. His hands shook, adrenaline or cold or disbelief. He photographed everything. Shelving, arrangement, blankets, jugs. Each shot time-stamped, geotagged. Document everything. Paper trail beats memory. He unscrewed the nearest cap. Metal smell, sharp and immediate. Inside, quarters. Not scattered but packed tight, layers pressed together until the container was dense as lead. He photographed the open top, then sealed it. 21 jugs total. He counted 3 times. If each jug held this many quarters, he was looking at thousands of dollars. Maybe tens of thousands. But whose money? And why hidden like this? He pulled one jug to his trunk. The car suspension sagged. He covered it with a jacket, locked the car, returned to photograph measurements. Shelf height, jug spacing. The way blankets were tied to hang just so. Someone had set this up. Someone had intended to return. The kitchen boxes held actual dishes. The garage boxes held tools, normal things. But beneath one box, wedged against the wall, a spiral notebook. Inside, handwritten logs. June 3rd drop, 2:15 a.m. June 10th. Drop, 1:50 a.m. June 17th. Drop, 2:30 a.m. Last entry, June 24th. The unit went delinquent in July. Regular late-night visits. Then silence. David pocketed the notebook, pulse hammering. Drop what? Drugs? Stolen goods? His phone buzzed, Emma texting. Did you fix the heater? Working on it. Home by 3:30. Walking to his car, he felt watched. Security cameras pointed at the units. Office window reflected sky. A truck passed on the highway. Normal things. But his neck prickled. The jug shifted in his trunk, quarters clinking like a countdown. Halfway home, David stopped for gas. The station was busy Saturday afternoon, families fueling up for errands. He pulled up to pump 6, killed the engine, and got out. The trunk. He'd covered the jug with his jacket, but the weight had pressed it low, visible if you looked. He opened the back door instead, rummaged like he was looking for something. Closed it. Casual. Normal. At the pump, he swiped his card and waited. A man pulled up beside him. 50s, clean sedan, polo shirt, smiled. Nice day for it. Yeah. David kept his eyes on the pump numbers. You hit that auction this morning? Valley View? David's hand froze on the nozzle. Sorry? The storage auction. I saw you there. The man gestured toward his own car. Through the windshield, David could see a yellow bidder tag hanging from the rearview mirror. Same kind David had clipped to his visor that morning. Just wondering if you got anything good. I bid on a couple units but got outbid. Unit 14, right? That was you? The man knew the unit number. David hadn't mentioned it. Just some tools, David said carefully. Nothing special. That's usually how it goes. Though those jugs looked heavy when you were loading up, the man's smile stayed pleasant, curious. Water containers? David's stomach dropped. The man had watched him, had stayed after the auction ended, had seen him load the jug into his trunk. Emergency supplies. Earthquake prep. David forced his voice steady. Good luck with your units. He finished pumping fast, hands shaking. The man waved as he drove away, different car from the dark sedan at auction, different plates. But the yellow bidder tag meant he'd been there, had registered, had watched. All the way home, David drove like a man carrying evidence. By the time he pulled into his driveway, the quarter jug felt less like treasure and more like evidence he couldn't afford to be caught with. The coin shop sat between a tax office and a taco stand. Gold and silver exchange in faded letters, bulletproof glass. David parked where he could see his car and carried a Ziploc, 50 quarters from the jug now locked in his garage under a tarp. The owner looked up from a jeweler's loop. 60s, reading glasses on a chain. Help you? Need to know what these might be worth. David set the bag down. Just an estimate. The man, name tag read Walter, dumped the quarters onto felt and spread them with one finger. His expression didn't change, which told David something important. This wasn't unusual enough to surprise a professional. Where'd you get these? Storage auction? Legal purchase. Everything documented. Smart. Walter picked up a 1964 quarter, held it to light. Silver. 90%. Face value 25 cents. Melt value about $5 each right now. Collector value varies. He pulled out a magnifier. Some of these are decent condition. You have more? Maybe. Walter looked over his glasses. Son, if you found a stash, be careful. Coin collections disappear for 3 reasons: estate dispute, theft, or hiding assets. Only one ends well for the finder. David's stomach dropped. What should I do? Document everything. If they're estate or stolen, you're legally obligated to report. If they're legit abandoned and you bought legally, you still owe taxes on any sale. Walter slid a business card across. I can appraise for a fee, give written reports, but talk to a lawyer first. CYA? CYA? Cover your ass. Walter pushed the quarters back across the counter, then paused. He picked up the 1964 quarter again, studied it under the loupe. Actually here, he set it aside. Keep this one separate. Don't sell it. Don't spend it. Why? Call it a hunch. If these are part of a collection, whoever built it started somewhere. First coin, last coin, they mean something. Walter's eyes were serious. If this comes back to you clean, that quarter's your proof you did this right. Keep it. David picked up the coin. It felt heavier than it should. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You haven't walked out of the woods. David left with the quarter's card and the single 1964 coin now in his front pocket. In the car, he sat 5 minutes, engine off, thinking. The notebook. The late-night drops. The sedan watching at auction. The man at the gas station. None of it added up to abandoned property. His phone rang. Unknown number. He let it ring. No voicemail. 2 minutes later again. Same number. This time he answered. That's when the voice said his children's names. David drove straight to the police station, not home, not the unit. The station, where hands could stop shaking under fluorescent lights and official procedure. The desk officer listened without interrupting. Young, professional, taking notes. Someone contacted you, knew your children's names, made an implied threat? He mentioned them. Knew their grades. And the unit contains coins of unknown origin with logs suggesting regular late-night activity? David handed over printouts, photos, auction receipt, Walter's card. Everything documented. The officer wrote steadily, I'll file a report. Detective will call you. Meanwhile, don't go back alone. Don't meet anyone about this. Consider getting security cameras. What if he comes to my house? We'll increase patrols. Get a doorbell camera minimum. Motion lights. Keep doors locked. If he contacts you again, hang up and call us. The officer's voice softened. You did right coming here. When finds aren't junk, protocol matters. David stopped at hardware store, motion camera, fireproof safe. At home, before the kids returned from school, he moved the jug from garage to safe, locked it, hid the safe behind winter coats. He was screwing the camera bracket into the door frame when his phone buzzed. Unknown number. His hands froze on the drill. He let it ring, no voicemail. His mother's voice drifted from inside. David? Who keeps calling? Nobody, Mom. But somebody knew where he lived. Somebody knew his children's names. And the camera in his hand suddenly felt like locking the barn after the horse was already inside. His mother watched from her chair as he finished the install, oxygen line serpentining. You going to tell me? Bought a storage unit. Found something valuable. Someone wants it back. Legally valuable or trouble valuable? Not sure yet. He tested the camera, motion detected, alert sent to phone. It worked. But would it stop someone who'd already crossed every other line? She was quiet, then reached for his hand. You did right. At 3:30, Emma and Ryan burst through with backpacks and noise. David made snacks, helped with homework, half his mind on the phone. It stayed silent, which somehow felt worse than ringing. At 8 p.m., after kids were in bed and his mother settled, David pulled up the storage facility website. The contact page listed office hours. Monday, Friday, 9 to 5. He checked the time. 8:15 p.m. Too late. But the office number was listed. He called anyway. A woman answered on the third ring, annoyed. Valley View Storage, this is Kelly. Hi, this is David Harper. I rented Unit 14 on Saturday. I need to ask about security. Office hours are 9 to 5, Mr. Harper. I know, I'm sorry, but someone may have tampered with my unit. I need to know, does the gate system keep logs? Like, who accessed when? Yeah, it logs every vehicle entry. Gate code required, timestamps everything. But that information isn't public. Privacy policy. David's chest tightened. Even for the person renting the unit? Even then. I'd need approval from corporate. Forms filled out, takes a week minimum, she sighed. Look, I'm not supposed to do this, but if you're genuinely worried about security breach, I can pull your unit's history real quick. Just don't tell anyone I did. I won't, I promise. Okay, this is weird. Your unit shows regular access, like someone coming every week or so, from January through June. Always between 1 and 3 a.m., then nothing for months. Then, she stopped. Then what? Then Sunday night. 11:47 p.m., 2 nights ago. After you'd already bought it, David's hand tightened on the phone. After he'd changed the lock. After it was legally his. Can you email me that? I really shouldn't, please. Someone called me today. Knew my kids' names. I went to the police. This could be evidence. Long silence. You have my word, David said. Fine. Email address. And don't call here again. The file arrived 10 minutes later. PDF, 3 pages. David stared at the pattern. Regular as clockwork. Then the sudden stop. Then the single entry after he'd bought it. Someone had come back in the middle of the night to his unit. After he'd locked it. If they'd forced entry once, what stopped them from doing it again? And if they knew where the unit was, they knew where he lived. David checked the motion camera app. Front door clear. Street view, empty. At 10:47 p.m., his phone buzzed. Motion detected. David's heart stopped. He opened the app. Live feed from the front door camera. Black and white. Wide angle. A figure stood on the sidewalk, just standing there, facing the house. Not moving, not approaching, just watching. David's hand found his phone, 911 ready. He watched the screen. The figure was backlit by the streetlight, impossible to see features. Tall, male, hands in pockets. The figure shifted, pulled something from his pocket, lifted it, a phone. The screen glowed against his face for 3 seconds, then went dark. 5 seconds later, David's phone rang. Unknown number. The figure on the sidewalk held his phone to his ear, waiting. David's hand shook. He didn't answer, couldn't answer. Just watched the figure standing there, phone pressed to his face. calling him while standing 15 feet from where his children slept. The call went to voicemail. No message. The figure lowered the phone, slipped it back in his pocket, then turned and walked away, slow, casual, like he'd just been out for a walk. But before he left the frame, he looked back at the camera. Direct, deliberate, like he wanted David to know he'd been seen. David saved the footage. Screenshot of the figure. Screenshot of the incoming call at the exact timestamp. He sent everything to his email, hands shaking so hard he almost dropped the phone. He checked every window, every lock. The baseball bat leaned against the couch. He sat there, phone in hand, watching the live feed until his eyes burned. At 11:30, a patrol car rolled past. Slow, deliberate. The officer's spotlight swept across the yard, the porch, the street. David texted the desk sergeant. "Thank you." The reply came fast. "We're watching." "You're not alone." But sitting in darkness, listening to his mother's oxygen machine and the house settling, David had never felt more alone in his life. He turned on every light in the house and didn't sleep until the sky started to gray. Detective Rachel Torres called at 9 a.m. Tired voice, competent. "Mr. Harper, read the report. Can you meet me at the facility today? I want to see this unit." They met at 10:30. David had texted his supervisor he'd be late. The county records job he'd held 12 years, filing documents, processing requests, the job that paid just enough to stay afloat but never ahead. Torres drove an unmarked sedan, carried camera and flashlight. David unlocked Unit 14. Morning light spilled across shelving. Everything looked exactly as he'd left it, except one detail. The blanket on the left shelf had a new fold. Corner tucked differently. "Someone's been inside," he said quietly. Torres stepped forward, not touching. "Padlock was on?" "Yes, still locked." She photographed the fold, the shelf, the unit, then walked the perimeter, examining the door frame. At the bottom edge, she crouched and pointed. Fresh scratches. Metal on metal. Someone forced this. She pulled out an evidence bag, scraped metal shavings from the scratches. Recent, maybe last night. David felt cold. If they forced it, why not take everything? Either they came before you removed the coins or after. She turned to him. Either way, they know you took them. Torres pulled out her phone, made a call. "This is Detective Torres, badge 2847. I need forensics at Valley View Storage. Unit 14. Possible B&E connected to theft investigation." She hung up. The caller, did he sound local? Accent? Age? Midwest maybe. Calm. Like a businessman. That's what made it scary. He wasn't trying to scare me. He was just stating facts. Torres wrote that down. "Facts about your children?" "Yeah." Her phone rang. She answered, listened, her expression shifting. "When?" "Okay. Keep units there." She hung up and looked at David. "There's a car parked outside your house." Dark sedan. Been there 20 minutes. David's blood went cold. "My kids. They're at school. Your mother's inside." "Patrol's rolling now." She grabbed her keys. "Let's go." Forensics arrived as they left. By the time they reached David's house, the sedan was gone. Officers took a report. No plates visible. No threatening behavior. Just presence. That night, David installed motion lights on every corner. He slept on the couch, phone charging beside him, baseball bat leaning against the coffee table. Upstairs, he could hear Emma reading to Ryan something about dragons and knights. Her voice calm, steady, like nothing was wrong. Like they were safe. He checked his phone one last time before closing his eyes. The motion camera showed nothing. The street was empty. The house was dark. Wednesday morning, David dropped the kids at school. Normal routine. Backpacks, lunchboxes, Emma reminding Ryan to stay with his class. He watched them walk through the gate, watched until they disappeared into the building. As he pulled out of the parking lot, he glanced in his rearview mirror. A dark sedan was moving slowly down the side street that ran parallel to the school playground. Not in the drop-off line, not obvious, just cruising past. David's pulse hammered. He pulled over, grabbed his phone. By the time he opened the camera app, the sedan had turned the corner and disappeared. He sat there, hands shaking. It could have been anyone. Parents took different routes, but the timing, the speed. He called the school office. "This is David Harper, Emma and Ryan's dad. I need to update our pickup authorization. For the next week, only I pick them up, no one else. If anyone else tries, call me immediately and don't release them. Is everything okay, Mr. Harper? Just being cautious. Thank you." Wednesday afternoon, David was filing property deeds at the county office when his phone buzzed. Text from Torres. "Can you come to the station? Have something to show you." He arrived 30 minutes later. Torres met him in a conference room. On the table, a photograph of an elderly man in a garden smiling at the camera. Robert Whitman. Died 3 months ago. His daughter claimed he had a coin collection worth $150,000. It disappeared. She slid another photo across. A younger man standing beside Robert in the same garden. Dark hair, careful smile. Derek Sullivan, Robert's caretaker. Quit the day after Robert died. No forwarding address. Torres spread 3 rental agreements on the table. 3 storage units. All rented in January under the name R. Sullivan. All paid cash. All went delinquent in July. David's throat went dry. 14, 22, and 27. We got warrants this morning. 22 and 27 were cleaned out 3 days before your auction. Same late night pattern. She tapped Derek's photo. He recovered 2 units. Yours was supposed to be next. Why not just bid on it? Because bidding creates paperwork. And Derek avoids paperwork. She pulled out a DMV printout. Dark sedan registered to his girlfriend. Same vehicle at your auction. Same vehicle outside your house. David stared at Derek's photo. This was the voice on the phone. The man who knew his children's names. How do we prove the coins are Robert's? We don't. Not without photographic records. Torres gathered the photos. So we make Derek prove it himself. That night, Emma appeared in the kitchen doorway while David was making tea. "Dad, can Ryan sleep in my room tonight?" "Why, honey?" "He keeps saying someone's watching the house." He's scared. David knelt down, meeting her eyes. "Ryan is being smart. We're being extra careful right now, okay? Like a game. If anyone you don't know tries to talk to you, at school, anywhere, you run to a teacher. Can you help Ryan remember that?" She nodded. "Too mature for 10. Is it because of the storage thing?" "Yeah, but it's being handled. The police are helping." "Okay," she paused. "Ryan can still sleep in my room though, right?" "Absolutely." After she left, David stood in the dark kitchen, listening to his kids rearrange blankets upstairs. The oxygen machine hummed from the living room. His mother appeared in the doorway watching him. "That sedan that was parked outside," she said quietly. "I saw it before. Tuesday morning, early. It circled the block twice before I noticed." David's blood went cold. "Why didn't you tell me? I thought I was being paranoid. But I worked hospital security for 3 years before nursing. You learn to notice vehicles." She held his gaze. "He's been watching longer than you think." David called Torres immediately. Thursday passed quietly. Too quietly. Friday morning, David drove his mother to her pulmonologist appointment. In the clinic parking lot, he helped her out of the car, oxygen tank in one hand, her elbow in the other. That's when he saw it. Dark sedan, 3 rows over. Same model. Engine off, windows up. But this time he was close enough to see details. A crack in the passenger mirror, a rental company barcode on the rear window, and in the driver's seat, a silhouette. Just sitting there, watching. David's pulse hammered. He pulled out his phone, started to take a photo. The sedan's engine turned over. It backed out smoothly, turned, and drove past them. Close enough that David could see the driver's profile through the windshield. 30s, dark hair, sunglasses, Derek Sullivan. The sedan disappeared around the corner. David stood frozen, his mother watching him. That was him, wasn't it? Yeah. David's hands were shaking. That was him. He called Torres from the parking lot. She listened, her voice tight. He's escalating. He's showing himself. We need to move the timeline up. This weekend. Saturday morning, they picked up the kids early from their activities. Normal routines, but every car that slowed got memorized. Every face that lingered got noted. Saturday afternoon, Torres called. Everything's in place. We're ready when you are. David looked around his living room. Kids building a blanket fort. Mother watching from her chair, alert now, protective. The thermostat still read 58. Tonight? Monday night. That gives us time to position everything. Can you hold tight until then? David watched his kids laughing, building. Yeah, we can hold tight. If Derek wanted the coins, David would have to give him a reason to break in again. Monday night, under darkness, David and Torres returned 10 jugs to Unit 14, each marked with invisible UV codes, each embedded with trackers. Blankets arranged exactly as found, deliberate and false. New cameras hidden in light fixtures. Gate code changed. Only David, management, and law enforcement had access. David locked the unit, hands steadier than expected. How long do we wait? Could be days, could be hours. He knows auction timelines 1 week before resale. If he's moving, it'll be soon. And if he doesn't? Then we bring him in for questioning. Either way, this ends. Torres looked at him. You good? I'm good. Home, his mother was waiting with tea. She looked at him over the cup. They set a trap. How'd you know? Because you look like your father before he testified at that council hearing. Scared but standing. She set down the cup. Keep doing right. Tuesday and Wednesday passed in careful routine. Work, homework, dinner. David checked his phone every hour. The waiting stretched thin as wire. Wednesday night, 11 p.m., David lay in darkness checking one last time. Unit 14, no access today. He forced himself to put the phone down, to close his eyes, to trust that someone was watching. At 2:17 a.m., the phone exploded. Motion detected. Unit 14 GPS, signal active. Moving 3 alerts at once. David grabbed the phone, heart hammering. Torres calling. Hello? Stay inside. Lock your doors. We're moving now. Radio chatter. Car engine. Someone shouting coordinates. Is it him? Vehicle moving with GPS signal. Stay on the line. David sat in darkness, phone pressed to ear, listening to codes he didn't understand. Somewhere in the city, people were converging because of coins he'd found by accident. 5 minutes. 10. Then Torres's voice, clear and final. We have him. Derek Sullivan is in custody. David exhaled for what felt like the first time in days. It's over? The immediate threat is over. Derek Sullivan isn't walking free tonight. He looked at his window. Still dark. Still hours before dawn. What happens now? Now, Torres said, we see if doing the right thing was worth it. 3 months later, Derek Sullivan accepted a plea deal. He admitted to stealing Robert Whitman's coin collection, $180,000 across 3 storage units during Robert's final weeks. Units 22 and 27 were never recovered. Unit 14, preserved by David's documentation, contained $60,000 in coins. The law was clear. David had purchased legally, but proven stolen property must be returned. Robert's daughter, Lauren Whitman, requested a meeting. She stood when David entered the prosecutor's office. "Mr. Harper, I wanted to thank you personally. I didn't do anything. You did everything. You documented, reported, cooperated. Because of you, we recovered a third of my father's collection." She handed him an envelope. "This is from my father's estate. Inside, check for $15,000 in recognition of integrity and assistance. With gratitude, Lauren Whitman." David stared. "I can't. You could have fought for ownership. You chose not to. My father collected those coins 60 years. You gave them back," she smiled. "The estate's paying you a finder's fee. It's legal. It's right. Please accept." Torres nodded from the doorway. "Take it, David. This is how it should work." The check covered the furnace, utilities, winter coats, and a reserve. Not life-changing, life-stabilizing. Enough to stop choosing between heat and food. Lauren reached into her bag and pulled out a small envelope. "One more thing. My father started this collection in 1964. This was his first coin." She opened the envelope. Inside, a single silver quarter, 1964, gleaming. David's hand went to his pocket. The quarter Walter had given him. The one he'd kept separate. He pulled it out. Lauren's eyes widened. "You have one already. The coin dealer. He told me to keep it. Said if this came back clean, it would prove I did things right." Lauren smiled, tears in her eyes. "My father would have liked you, Mr. Harper. He always said the measure of a man is what he does when no one's watching." She pressed her quarter into his hand. "Keep them both. A reminder that integrity under pressure is its own wealth." David left the prosecutor's office with 2 quarters in his pocket, one from a stranger's wisdom, one from a daughter's gratitude. Together, they weighed almost nothing and meant everything. The furnace hummed to life on a Thursday afternoon. When warm air flowed through the vents, Ryan ran through the house shouting, "Dad fixed the cold." That night, for the first time in months, they ate dinner without sweaters. His mother sat at the table, breathing easy, color in her cheeks. "So, was it worth it?" she asked. He thought of the baseball bat by the couch. "Yeah," he said. "It was." She squeezed his hand. "Your father would be proud." Later, David sat on the porch looking at winter stars. The motion lights glowed soft on the driveway. Inside, he could hear Ryan laughing at something on TV, Emma helping her grandmother with a crossword puzzle. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. His phone buzzed. Text from Emma. "Good night, Dad. I'm not cold anymore." He smiled and typed, "Me neither, honey. Sleep warm." He pulled the 2 quarters from his pocket, held them in his palm. 1,964. Both of them. The right thing and the easy thing are seldom the same. But tonight, they felt like the same thing after all.